Hey guys, what is up? It is your friendly neighborhood Ubigus here, back again with another Isaac Breaking, and this time I'm actually going to show you the process of finding a breaking run. Because I haven't really shown it yet. I've like talked about it, but I'm realizing that I've never really shown it. So basically, what I do is I sit here and I do this, and I keep resetting until I get an item that I think is worthy of breaking. And you'll get used to seeing the really shitty spacebar items because they happen to pop up a lot. Unless, of course, we find a breaking item off the bat. And by breaking item, I generally mean something flashy. You know, something with a very unique effect. Not just like a tiny little stat boost. I mean, all stats ups are generally acceptable if I've been resetting forever. But, you know, generally something flashy. And, you know, the reason, by the way, that obviously I'm looking for an item room so I can immediately, you know, figure out what my item is. I don't want to, like, explore the floor at all, because that would mean there's more footage that you guys don't see and all that shit. And, yeah, as you can see, hey, you know what? Fuck it. Let's start with this. How long was that? Only a minute and a half of resetting. That's not bad. So there's the seed, and let's go. Let's do it. Tiny Planetu. So yeah, basically, that's the process, right? And it can take fucking upwards of an hour. I think the longest it took one time was about an hour. Which is not a great thing. I was only planning on doing this, you know, for a little bit, and then if it was gonna take like an hour, then I would have said fuck it and just done it as usual. But luckily, it did not take an hour. It was fairly quick, which is pretty nice. Very lucky. Normally, it takes a good deal longer than that, but we got pretty lucky. Also, I haven't done a Tiny Planet run in a while, so I'm just fucking doing it. I will bomb that tinted rock that's in my item room. I'll do that in a little bit. In a little bit. Oi! A little bit. Sorry if I've offended you. I'm not sorry. Alright. So, I've been playing Hearthstone. As you may know, there was one Hearthstone arena run that went up yesterday. And there's another one coming up tonight that I already recorded. And my arena runs have been fucking solid recently. Like, I've been feeling real good about it. In the past 2 days, I've done, I think, 8 arena runs, with one being 5 wins and every other one being at least 7. Which is fucking real good, because even at 5 wins, it's like kind of the break-even point. At least with like dailies and stuff, you're very break-even. You can even theoretically go infinite if you just like do one arena run a day, do your daily, and get 5 wins. But if you don't know anything about Hearthstone Arena, it's basically it's like drafting in Magic the Gathering. I mean, all you do, right, is the game gives you options for cards, and you click them. You get 3 options every time. They're all the same rarity, and you're guaranteed a rare or better on the first, 10th, 20th, and 30th pick, and you just get the 30 cards and you make your deck. So it's actually there are a large amount of actual differences between drafting in Magic and Arena in Hearthstone. The biggest one that I can say is the fact that in Magic, you're not forced to go with, you know, your first, like, in Magic, what do you do? Normally, like, 23 cards. The decks are 40. You generally want 16, 17 lands. So you're not just stuck with the first 23 cards you pick. You pick a total of 45 in the entire draft. I guess technically like 42. Because in most draft formats, you're getting a basic land, which is irrelevant. Yeah, so there's a good amount of differences there. And then one of the bigger ones is the fact that in Hearthstone, in Arena, you're not in like pods or anything. It's just you're doing an arena run, and when you face somebody else with your arena deck, they also have an arena deck, and their record's similar to yours. However, they're not, you know, you're not restricted to a certain amount of people. You're not in pods. It's just to anybody who's playing arena at that moment with a similar record. And also in arena, because you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. I haven't had a Tiny Planet tech run in quite a long time, so fuck it. And it's essentially Spectral Tears, so that's nice. But in Magic, there's a lot of intricacies to the actual drafting part. In Hearthstone, it's just kind of like you pick the cards and then you play the cards, right? And I know... What the fuck is... Okay. I know that I'm, like, downplaying it, but compared to Magic, it's like comparing chess and checkers, right? In terms of specifically the drafting aspect. Gameplay, they're very different, but drafting is just like, you know, no contest. Magic is much more complex and, I guess, much more, I guess, game-like. Because, yeah, in Hearthstone, it's like you can use a resource like Hearth Arena, which I just use to stat track, pretty much. And occasionally I have no fucking clue on a pick, and it's like, hey, you should pick this. And I'm like, alright, fuck it, sure. But, you know, you can have services like that, which just draw from the tier lists, the arena tier lists that exist for each card, and, like, compare the cards in each chunk of 3 and shit like that. In Magic, your first pick is between 15 cards, 14 in most formats, because there are 15 cards in a pack, one of which is normally a basic land. But you have 15 cards, right? That's a lot. You pick one, a lot of times you pick the rare, because you're literally opening a pack, which has one guaranteed rare, right? And so, you pick one of the 15, right? And then you try to remember it, because that pack stays in the rotation until it's empty. So you pass it to your left. You pass the pack to your left. Everybody does that exact same process simultaneously. So everybody takes a card and then passes to their left. And then everybody takes a card and then passes to their left, right? So you have, at any given moment going around the table, you have 8 packs, because they're pods of 8, right? And it's a lot of cards, right? And generally what you want to do, the most important thing in drafting and Magic the Gathering, is signaling. And I say it's the most important, which is more or less not true, but I think it's incredibly important. So what signaling is because everybody has the same packs, the same, you know, some people won't see the cards, right? For example, nobody will see the first pick of any pack aside from their own, right? Nobody will see the second pick aside from the pack that, you know, came... Basically, if cards are numbered 1 through 15 in terms of pick order, everybody sees a 1 through 15, and then a 2 through 15, and then a 3 through 15, right? Until they've seen every pack. And you can use this knowledge to deduce what other people are doing with the cards they're picking, right? You can figure out, and this is stupid, but fuck, god damn it. So you can figure out what people are playing, generally, and why that's important is that in Magic, you don't have the classes that you have in Hearthstone to kind of, you know, limit people, like, to separate decks themselves. In Magic, it's generally colors or strategies, right? Because in Magic, there's 5 colors of mana, and as such, there are 5 colors of cards, as well as colorless. And then there's hybrid colors, which take both. And all of this together basically means if you get a pack, right, every pack, on average, it depends on the print run, but on average has a somewhat even amount of all colors, right? They'll generally have between 1 and 3 of any specific color, sometimes more, but you'd expect 3, right? If there's 5 colors, 15 cards in a pack, you'd expect 3, but that's not always the case. But what can happen is you get a pack, right, that you haven't seen yet. This is like pick 6, how about? So you get pick 6, you get the pack, and then, I don't even want to backtrack, fuck this. So you pick 6, right? You've picked, and this is the first pack. You do 3 packs, by the way. So this is pick 6, pack 1. Cool, alright. You get the pack, and there is 1 green card, and it's bad. It's a bad green card in the pack. Well, what this means is that the person, well, or multiple people, generally in that specific situation, you can pretty much deduce at least 2 people probably picked green cards. So it's probably a good idea for you to not go into green if you don't want to compete for those green cards. So at this point, even if you've already picked some green cards yourself, you can jump out of the color, right? Because you're only 5 picks in. That's only 1/9 of the total cards you're going to see. So you can just jump ship, and you can, you know, continue on to the, you know, a different color, basically your second color in that situation, and do stuff like that. Not only does that matter, but your own signaling matters, which is really cool. So if you're pick 1, pack 1, you have a reasonably good, I'm just gonna go with green because it's an easy thing to just, you know, pull up. If you're pick 1, pack 1, your rare is a reasonably good green card, like a first pickable green card. And then in the pack, you have like the top tier green card uncommon, because there are 3 uncommons in every pack. You have a top tier green uncommon, along with your maybe high tier, not top tier, but high tier green rare. What you could do, and what a lot of people, this is incredible, what a lot of people would do is just take the green rare because, well, fuck it, it's good, right? However, if you're drafting against other people who are, like, you know, good observers and stuff like that, you know, like people who have drafted more than a few times, you probably don't take a green card out of the pack. Reason being, if you take the green rare, right, and then somebody else at a different seat takes their green rare, and then they get your pack with the absolute top tier green uncommon, they're like, well shit, green's open, and then they're fighting you for it, right? And if any 2 people are fighting for colors, both people get kind of screwed, right? Now, 2 people can be in the same color. That's not uncommon. But when you get to 3 people, and on rare occasion 4 people in the same color, that's when it gets really fucking filthy and awful. But, like, there's all these intricate little things with the drafting itself. It's not just you click a card because it's good, right? And so that's what makes Magic drafting so cool. Well, Hearthstone is more just you click the best card and you build a deck if you got lucky and play right, then hey, you did it. But at the end of the day, I do really like Hearthstone Arena because it inherently has the ability to let you go infinite. In Magic drafting, if you're drafting like paper Magic, you really can't go infinite. Like, I guess you technically can. It depends on your local game store, right? It depends what their prize pool system is. If they do cash payout, which is very rare, but I've definitely seen it. If they do something like that, yeah, you can go infinite drafting. But most of the time, it either costs, what, like 20 bucks for a draft, or you bring the packs and it's like $5, right? And then technically, you could still go infinite, even if it's not cash payout, if you have somebody who will buy packs off of you, which not many people do. But yeah, in Hearthstone, it's like you get 5 wins, right? 5 wins gets you 3 of those little Chestaroo doohickeys, and you get on average like 50 plus gold, right? At 5 wins, I think it's about 50. Maybe it's a little bit higher, but let's just say 50 for simplicity's sake. So at 5 wins, in Hearthstone Arena, you go until you accumulate 3 losses, and that's it. right? So, and then the highest amount of wins you can get is 12. When you get 12 wins, no matter how many losses you have, it ends and you get the top payout, right? So in Hearthstone, let's say you get 5 wins in an arena run. That gives you roughly 50 gold, and you always are guaranteed a pack. And maybe out of one of those little boxes, because you get 3 prize boxes, right? So most often in this circumstance, one prize box would be like 40, another prize box would be like 15, and then the third one would be your pack. Let's go in here. Ooh. But let's say that why is my laser green? It took so long. But let's just say, for simplicity's sake, that you get one box with like 45, another one with some dust, and then the final box with your pack, right? This is great. At that point, so the packs cost 100 gold, right? Oh, I want the black handle, but I'm gonna resist, and we're gonna go hard. I got wafer. We're gonna go hard. So if a pack is 100 gold, and you spend 150 gold to get into an arena run, and you get 50 gold out of it, and the pack, you broke even. Sort of, right? That's not bad. Actually, I think 5 wins is more than 50 gold. Whatever. My point is, in Hearthstone, if you get 7 wins, that is the part where you begin going infinite. That is the part where your average gold is over 150, right, per arena run, if you're winning 7 wins exactly every time. So what that does is basically you're getting the pack for free, and then you can do an arena again, and you're accumulating gold depending on how much past the 7 win mark you are. And that's a cool system. That's a really neat system. And then if you go like 12 wins, that pays for like 6 arenas or something, because it's ridiculous, which I haven't done yet, but I would love to. I wish I was good enough. But yeah, it's a really cool system. And honestly, I enjoy Arena just because I enjoy Hearthstone. The gameplay of Hearthstone is very compelling. It's not nearly, to me at least, it's not nearly as, I guess, planned out, sort of. It's a lot more like little tiny interactions, and a lot less of you're planning out your, like, you know, next 5 turns or whatever. You can if you're life coach, but you probably aren't. And that's actually a thing life coach does. That's why he ropes on turn 1, is that he's thinking about pretty much every single permutation after, you know, making an assumption about what deck you're playing, knowing what deck he's playing, seeing the cards he has to deal with, and he tries to figure out ways that the first few turns can go in advance, so he can kind of plan it out and, you know, figure out what order of cards he wants to play, stuff like that. Really, the dude is insane, frankly. But, you know, Hearthstone's a lot less about that than Magic. If you're playing Magic, right, there are decks, like if you're playing, you know, like a mono red deck or whatever, you can very easily get away with just not thinking about shit. And still winning at mono red. And that's not a knock on mono red. Mono red is still, like, in order to play it, you still generally have to be not fucking stupid, right? I mean, like, one of my favorite, well, a few of my favorite Magic players are people that just play, like, mono red a lot. Fuck this floor, man. This sucks. There's already a mini boss too, so we can't get a fucking, well, I guess, wasn't there a battery in here, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah, so I guess we have one more shot. Huh! Shit. Alright, we still have an opportunity. We do have one more floor with a shop to get Sharp Plug. That's the goal. If I don't get there, whatever. I tried. But yeah, like, mono red, there are people who just play mono red all the time, and it's not necessarily because it's easy. It's because they enjoy it. So, I mean, I don't judge people for the decks they're playing. I'm just trying to speak in a frank way about how mono red is a deck that doesn't necessarily need to look very far in the future to figure out its line of plays. However, when you look at a deck which I enjoyed playing the shit out of when it was in Standard, Aristocrats, that deck is so fucking weird It's like the Grim Patron of Magic the Gathering, right? If you play Hearthstone and not Magic. That's the way I would describe it. And I'm saying this as a person who thinks Grim Patron's not broken. But anyway, it's so unique because the way that Aristocrats worked, and I guess technically still works. I think there's an Aristocrats modern deck, but it's not nearly as insane as the standard deck was. Reason being, in modern you have more cards, but in standard, you know, the power level is overall lower than modern, so that's why it was more powerful in standard. Is because relative to the rest of the decks, it was more powerful. But Aristocrats, basically, the deck involved, the main cards were sacrifice outlets, cards with activated abilities where you had to sacrifice a creature to use it. Another creature, not the creature itself, but you know, a different creature. Okay. We'll see how this works out, because I don't know. I'm gonna open this though. Not great. But it would revolve around Aristocrats, which were, that was the name. There was Falkenrath Aristocrat and, what was the other Aristocrat? There were two Aristocrats, I think. One was a 2-drop, the other was a 4-drop. And both really, really powerful cards, kind of on their own, honestly. They were just really hard to deal with creatures, right? They were sticky. And it would use that and a myriad of other just kind of utility creatures. And this guy, Blood Artist, who, Blood Artist is a 2-mana 0/1, 0/1, who, whenever Blood Artist or another creature died, so whenever anything died, then your opponent loses a life, you gain a life. That's it. Simple effect, very straightforward. So what you would do is you'd assemble these board states where you have like 5 creatures on the table. And in Magic, remember in Magic, unlike Hearthstone, in Magic, if you're attacking, you attack the player, and the defender chooses what is blocking. They choose what gets hit, right? So just remember that little tidbit. That's very important. But you'd assemble these board states, right? And that's what allows you to get board states like what I'm about to describe, where you have like 4 or 5 creatures on the table, at least one of which being a Blood Artist, sometimes 2, because you can have 4 of each card in your deck in Magic, and you have 60 card decks, and so you get these board states, right? And what you would do is, because it uses, the game is on something called the stack, last in, first out. Kind of a complex thing, but essentially what it allows you to do is, if something were to happen, you have an opportunity to do something before it happens. That's essentially what it means. You can respond to it, and then your thing happens first, right? And it sounds really busted. It sounds really ridiculous if you're used to like Hearthstone or something, or even probably Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not sure. But it sounds very weird and hard to kind of digest if you're not used to Magic. But it allows the game to have a lot more interaction in general. And so what you'll do is you'll attack with one of your Aristocrats. Let's say the Falkenrath Aristocrat, who, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the Falkenrath Aristocrat, who, basically, when you sacrifice a creature, she gets indestructible until end of turn. And then I think if you sacrificed a human, she gets a +1/+1 counter. I think? Maybe not. Or maybe, I don't quite remember. Regardless, she becomes indestructible. I think. And that means, obviously, she can't die. So, what you'll do is you'll attack with her, right? You have this ridiculous board state, you attack with her, and then your opponent really doesn't have a lot of great options. So, whatever, I'll block, right? And then you stop the block from killing your Aristocrat, right? Your Aristocrat just eats the other creature because it has 4 attack and it's very powerful. And then not only that, but the Blood Artist will trigger. Like your 2 Blood Artists will now trigger upon you sacrificing the creature and drain your opponent for 2 more life. And like just all these really, really hard to deal with board situations, right? Just every situation that came up with aristocrats when you were playing against it was just really hard to digest and really, really hard to figure out. Right? It would have just assembled these board states that would make you really fucking confused and hurt your head. And even for the aristocrats player, these were board states that you really didn't want to show up because it was fucking hard. It was really hard to do properly. And then you throw in this guy Boros Reckoner, who's a 3-mana 3/3, which is really good in Magic. Well, not really good in Magic, but pretty strong in Magic. And whenever he takes damage, you get to deal that damage to another creature or player. Right? Which sounds ridiculous. He still takes the damage, by the way. But, you know, you have him in your deck. And so what you can do now, and he has an activated ability where you can pay either a red or a white mana. And his mana cost is 3 all hybrid red-white. So you can play him in mono-white decks or mono-red decks. You don't need both red and white. But, you know, you'd have him. Oh, and the activated ability with the hybrid mana gave him first strike. Did I say that? Whatever. Gave him first strike, right? Which allows him to deal his damage in combat before the guy either defending or defended by him. So it allows him to essentially deal 3 damage. And then if the thing dies, he doesn't take their damage. And it's pretty good. And so what you do with Boros Reckoner, right, is like you keep him back on defense in these situations, in these board states. And now your opponent just can't attack, right? It's like if I attack, let's say I have a, I don't know, what was a good creature around that time? Thragtusk. 5 mana 5/3, who when he enters the battlefield, you gain 5. And when he dies, you get a 3/3 beast. Right? So you have a Thragtusk on the table. Your opponent is sitting there with 2 Blood Artists and a Boros Reckoner. You can't attack. There's no way you can attack. So one way that this situation could break down is he could just first strike his Boros Reckoner, kill your Thragtusk, and then you'd get drained for 2 because the Blood Artists would see the Thragtusk dying and drain you for 2. Right? So that's no good. And then the other situation that's possible is he could just not give the Boros Reckoner first strike, and they'd trade, both dying. You would take 5 from the Reckoner taking 5, and then the Blood Artist would see 2 guys die, each would see 2 guys die, and then they would drain a total of 4. So you just took 9 because you attacked with your fucking Thragtusk. Like, that's the sort of shit that it would do, right? And it would have combo turns, too. I played a version that was really cool with Blasphemous Act, which is a, I think, 9 mana sorcery, where it costs 1 less for each creature on the battlefield, and the effect is it deals 13 damage to all creatures. Really cool effect. And what it would do, obviously, with Boros Reckoner, it would take 13 damage, and you would deal 13 damage to your opponent's face. Crazy. 2 Reckoners, 26 of them, a Blood Artist tossed in there, well, 3 dudes died there on just your board alone. So there you go, 29, and you gain 3. Yeah, that seems fair. Shit like this, man. It was such a cool deck. How did I get on this topic? Fuck if I know. It's just really cool. I just love that deck so much. It's probably my favorite deck of all time in Magic. I mean, I was talking about Hearthstone. What brought up... Whatever. It doesn't matter. The deck is crazy cool. There's nothing like it in Hearthstone. The closest thing is Grim Patron. Because Grim Patron requires, like, math and shit. But even then, it's like a simplified version of Aristocrats. Damn it, I knew I was going to walk on those spikes. But yeah, Aristocrats was such a fucking pain in the ass because it would kill you, not necessarily quickly, but quick enough that you'd have to deal with their creatures, and then when you dealt with their creatures, you'd take a fucking trillion damage, right? Because they have Blood Artists. Or like they wouldn't even lose their creatures. Like one of the Aristocrats, Cartel Aristocrat, was the 2-drop, I think. I think it was a 2-drop. It's like a 2-mana 2/2, I think. Sacrifice another creature, gain protection from color of your choice until end of turn, I think. And so what that would do... Yeah, hop in. So what that would do is, like, you know, your opponent's dying quickly, and they have to deal something on your board. And, like, you know, their options are 2 Cartel Aristocrats or a Falconwrath Aristocrat. There's no way to remove it. If you have a single targeted removal spell, you cannot kill anything on that board. Well, you do, but you don't get to choose, right? You don't get to choose what you're killing because they get to choose, because they get to sacrifice a different creature to save the one that you're trying to kill, right? So pretty much no matter what on that board, you're going to be killing the Cartel Aristocrat. And then if you throw in a Blood Artist, and it's like, I'll kill the Blood Artist. Alright, in response, I'll sacrifice the Blood Artist to a Cartel Aristocrat. So your spell, technically, it still killed the Blood Artist, but they get value out of it. Because now, you know, if you're killing and then you want to attack into their board, well, now you can't, because they gave it protection from the color of one of your dudes. And protection does a lot of crazy stuff. It basically, I mean, it does kind of what the name would imply. You can't take damage from the sources of the color that you choose. They can't be targeted by spells of the color. It can't be blocked by creatures of the color. All that shit. And so, like, it created just awful, awful board states. Like, the most complex shit ever. Nothing has been even close to that in Magic since Aristocrats rotated out of Standard. Which is very sad. It makes me very sad. Speed up's fine. So anyway, that was a long tangent. Hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed it. I love talking about fucking games I enjoy. It's my absolute favorite thing. Just talking about any game that I just enjoy the shit out of. And I love when other people talk about games they enjoy. I really do. It's such a fucking cool thing. I mean, like, that's why I loved going to GDQs, was, like, you go to a GDQ, right? And, like, I'll talk about Dime, King Dime. Really cool dude. He's a Doom runner. I knew I was gonna get hit no matter what. He's a Doom runner. And really, really down-to-earth dude. Really cool guy. And, like, we talked a shitload. I've never played a Doom game in my life. He's never played the games that I speedrun in his life, except Dark Souls was one that he played. But, like, you know, we've never played the games that each other speedran. So it's like, well, how would you, you know, how are you guys such good buds or whatever? Like, we just both enjoy talking about things we enjoy, and, like, both of us were super fucking passionate about the games that we liked. That was it. Like, that literally is the connection that I have with Dime. I haven't talked to him in forever, though. I feel bad about it. Or, like, me and Spike Vegeta. I mean, our connection goes a little bit deep, but it's a very unique connection. Probably the broiest connection I've ever been a part of. But, I mean, it revolves around us sucking each other's dicks. Like, that's just what it is, okay? God, I said it. Fuck. But yeah, like, I mean, I met Spike because I started speedrunning Rayman Origins. And, like, the first day that I was speedrunning Rayman Origins, Spike popped in my chat, and I'm like, yo, what up, dude? And he's like, sup? And then that was it. Like, that was literally it. And then we became bros and sucked each other's dicks, gave each other bro jobs. It wasn't gay, it was a bro job. Don't you love it when you and your buds just, you know, give each other bro jobs? You're just, like, driving down the street, and then you stick his face in your lap, and then, choo-choo, bro job, bro job! Anyway. Yeah, like, most of the people that I know from speedrunning, the connection wasn't on, like, a very, like, surface level, you know, we speedrun the same games. In some cases, that was true. But, like, most of the people that I got along with in speedrunning were just people who were super passionate about their games. And I'm super passionate about mine. And we just talked about our games. And that was it. Like, most of the time, I don't even care what the game is. If you're having a good time talking about it, I'm having a good time listening to it. I mean, that's generally how me and most of the other people who are in mad on the internet, which is like a fucking horrible, dying, one-legged dog at this point. But yeah, most of us just like got along because, I don't know, we're just like-minded individuals who all are very passionate about our video games. Modi being like, God, how many people are in Modi? Fuck if I know. Not a lot anymore. I mean, I think we all technically are still like Modi, but I don't know. I haven't talked to pretty much anybody from it in so goddamn long. But I mean, like, let me see. Wymorn, Adrian, Dacid Bro, Cordy, like, kind of. Cordy is a fucking, like, everything speedrunner. Pokey. Jeff used to be, and then everybody realized Jeff was a gigantic cunt and then said fuck him. Jeff being like twitch.tv/Jeff. He's a just massive douche, but whatever. Dude, I can't remember fucking names. OTLOZSR, he's a cool dude. Scoot Speedruns, which you'd probably only know him if you follow him on Twitter. There's a lot of people. I know I'm gonna miss somebody. They're gonna get pissed off. Yeah, like in the case of like all of us, right? All of Modi, the connection wasn't because like we all speedrun Ocarina of Time. It's like we all just speedran and liked it. That's about it. And a good number of us met at shit, what it was, I guess it was AGDQ 2014 is where we met. A good number of us. And then SGDQ 2014 we hung out a bunch. Oh, Muffin Cutie, the Muffin Cutie, the ex-League of Legends professional player from Team Vulcan. I like to fuck with him. I mean, it's a running joke that we go, is that the insert the other person's name? It's a good joke. It really is. It's solid. It's good for a few laughs, especially when they're an ex-League of Legends professional player. Excuse me, why did that bomb explode immediately? I disagree. I do not think you are playing by the rules of the game. I do not like you. Is that a Borat reference? Probably. Got it. Hurt saying it, so most likely. I just had like a really awful gut reaction immediately upon saying it. So it must be from Borat. I've never seen Borat and I never plan on it. It seems like the kind of fucking, you know, like the edgy teenager comedy, right? That's what it seems like to me. I could be wrong, but I don't know. I always regret picking up Taurus. Why do I do it? Why do I do it to myself? I'll take Leo, though. This gives me the fucking most badass hair ever. Dude, one day I want to grow out my hair to look like this shit. to look exactly like this. Like a lion's mane. I mean, you could do it. I'm sure people have. Where you grow out your hair long, right? Not even long, like just a medium length, but everywhere, right? All around your head, just like a medium length, consistent medium, right? You do that, right? And then you get a beard that connects to it through the sideburns and make sure that's nice and bushy. And there you go. You have a lion's mane. I want to do that someday. If I am ever capable of growing facial hair beyond just a street person goatee. Which I'm not sure is going to happen at any point in my life. I'm not sure if I'll ever actually progress beyond the street person goatee. I want to. But man, it's them genes. They strong. Like I'm part everything is what I like to say. But the everything that I'm a part of are the non-facial hair. What do you call? Ethnicities. They're the ones where it's like, you know, if the guy has facial hair, it's like scraggly, stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I have almost ever seen an Italian man or an Irish man with like a big bushy beard. Well, Irish is a bit more reasonable, but most of the time for them it's like, you know, a smaller sort of thing. Although Irish is like also just really fucking weird in a lot of ways. It's just a very diverse ethnicity. Not everybody looks even similar in most cases. A lot of times, like, you know, if you grab a group of people from Ireland, you wouldn't even be able to tell that they're from Ireland because there's really not like a consistent sort of look. The only real consistent thing is the whole pale skin and turning into a bubbly lava mess when you sit in the sun for more than 3 seconds. My damage is not great for Mega Satan. Not a huge fan of it. But I'm a big fan of it, get it? Because I'm a big fan. Do you get it? Do you get it? It's funny, right? Anyway. I'm also German. Germans aren't known for their scraggly beards. I'm also Croatian. I don't know shit about Croatia, but I assume they're not known for their big beards. I'll tell you though, I fucking the one bit of body hair that I am fucking set on for life, leg hair. It's like I'm wearing goddamn knee socks made out of fucking pubes. I don't know. It's fucking weird. Like, if you look underneath where my socks go on my feet, there's like no hair, right? There's some, like on my, specifically around my big toes, but not really like, I don't have like hobbit feet, right? Is what I'm trying to say. But on the calf, it's actually just like, I took a leg of a fucking, like, I don't even know, like a black deer or something, and that's my calf. Right? And then you go above my knee, and it's basically the same as under the sock. It's like, you know, there's some, but it's not really hairy. It's very bizarre. It's so weird. And I don't have an explanation for it at all. I mean, the feet, it makes some amount of sense because I'm wearing socks like all day. So it's like the socks kind of restrict it, and some socks are like tighter than others and kind of stop the hair from growing out and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like, that still, I feel like there'd be more hair than there is. I don't know, it's weird. I have no chest hair, I have no back hair, little facial hair. It's just, it's all in the calves, man. All in the Cavs. Anyway, thanks for watching that episode. Hope you enjoyed it. That was a very weird tangential episode. Really, I didn't talk about the game at all, but I think that's okay. I think you guys are pretty much fine with it. In fact, I think a lot of you prefer it that way. So, thanks again for watching. Blah, blah, blah. You know, like, comment, etc. Subscribe. Fuck everything. See ya next episode. Bye!